Okay, and welcome to episode 9. So, when we left episode 8, the car was headed to the body shop, and that was almost exactly 6 months ago. So, the car has been back here in the garage for about a month, so there was about a 5-month process. And so we got a little bit of catching up to do. This episode is going to do primarily with just showing where the car's at right now, what got done, and just looking at what is coming up in the very near future. So let's have a look-see. Okay, so obviously it looks a lot different. The sheet metal on the front passenger corner has been corrected, replaced, repainted, looking very much better. Obviously, in the process that I got some primer on the sides. Really, on the outside, it doesn't look a whole lot different. Then you get back to the right rear quarter, and there was a dent right above the wheel well. In the accident, the wheel actually went up into the fender and got knocked around back there. And so one of the items that the body shop corrected was pulling the fender out and getting that straightened up, and they did just an outstanding job. So then coming up to really where all the damage was is the front right corner. And what I had done was the core support and the lower front frame rail was NOS, and I had to get replacement sheet metal for the apron and the lower frame rail on the right side. The shock tower came out of a 1965 coupe that was getting a Mustang 2 front suspension conversion. So that shock tower actually came out of a 65 coupe from San Jose that production-wise lined up very closely to when this car went through. So I thought that was pretty cool. I got the car back, and we had to correct a couple of little things. Okay, and with the engine compartment being finished, one of the details that had to get done was doing the Shelby drop on the right side, as the car had been changed, given the Shelby drop, I believe, by the second owner, which was probably back in the 70s or early 80s. But that got done with the paint and everything. All the welding is done, all the sheet metal's been fixed, that it's ready to get back together. I have decided to leave the Shelby VIN as bare metal, and while there's a few little dents and wrinkles, that the sheet metal is all original, and it came out pretty nice. It's nice and flat, and all the numbers came through. So I'm just going to leave that as bare metal. I'm going to put some clear coat on it to keep any rust away, but I'm going to leave the Shelby VIN visible and be able to show it off that way. Okay, so let's have a look at the interior. That not a whole lot has changed. The front floor pans had to get adjusted and pulled back down a little bit on both sides, and in the back it's pretty much as it looked when I got all of the interior removed. Once I had the headliner out, I was going to remove the headliner rods, and something I found kind of interesting, while they're all different, they were actually color coded from the factory. The one in the rear looks like an orange almost. The middle one, you can't really see it too well, but there's gray paint on the bottom edge, and then the front one is yellow. So what it appears is that they had a bin of parts and they were color coded, and so you knew to get one of each color. Getting the headliner out, yes, the insulation is still there, which was a pleasant surprise. It's in good shape. My 65 Fastback that has been in the family since new, that insulation has been long gone. Who knows when that got removed? But anyway, getting the headliner out, it was pretty cool to see that it's still there. So I'm gonna take care of it and keep it there when the new headliner goes back in. So once again, hasn't changed a whole lot, but it's needs a little bit more cleaning. But I've got just a few things to do in here, but ready to get put back together. So regarding the interior, one of my next projects is going to be to get the doors gutted and pretty much down to the shell, so that when it's ready, when the car gets repainted, there really won't be much masking to do other than the surface where the interior paint is going to be. But I'll have the weather stripping taken off of it, all the screws, everything removed, towards just the shell. While it's off, I'm going to take the occasion to replace the vent window seal and on both doors, and then also the seal to the door itself along the top for the drip rail. I'm going to replace that, and that should make for a nice project. I've never replaced that even on my 65 Fastback, so that will be kind of a how-to video, and that will be upcoming. Okay, so from after the front suspension is done, I'm still left with a few more things I need to take care of. The trunk, I have not done any work in the trunk yet, so that'll be kind of fun to get into. I'm going to strip everything down to bare metal, or at least the factory undercoating, and everything that's painted metal, I'm going to strip the paint off of it and get it repainted. The wheel that was on the right front corner withstood some damage, and in fact it actually has cracks in the wheel itself. I've actually had buddies of mine tell me that there are wheel manufacturers that can repair alloy wheels, and I'm going to look into that. If this one can be repaired, I'm going to do that. The car originally had 10-spoke wheels, Shelby wheels, from the factory according to SAC, and they were actually with the car when it was sold by owner number 2. They're unfortunately no longer with the car now. And in the meantime, while I'm preparing to get the front suspension replaced and set up, I am going to be going through the motor, and maybe not so much going through it. I believe, having talked to the family from owner number 2, that the motor should be in good condition, probably ready to run. And so I'm just going to give it a good cleaning, and I've already started. I blasted the intake manifold, and I used a fine coal-based material that cleaned it up quite nicely, and then the valve covers as well came out really nicely too. They had a layer of battery acid and grease and dirt and whatnot that had been on there, but I'm going to use a little polish for the raised surfaces, but they're looking really good and ready to go back on the motor. So hopefully it coincides when the motor gets done that and put back together, then I'll have the front suspension in, and then after the front suspension goes in, I'll have time to get the engine compartment and the interior wiring harness installed. So I'll have wiring from front to rear will be all new. engine in, suspension done. And my goal is to get it started and be able to, but up and down the street, I can get it drivable and have it running on its own again. So my goal is, here we are in 2026, that if all goes well, the plan would be to have it on the road and operational by October, November of this year. So we'll see if that happens, God willing. So I'm going to make this the conclusion of episode 9. And as always, thanks very much for tuning in. I hope if you like the content that you will subscribe, and in subscribing, if you'd also be able to share and get the word out that if they like watching the progress of a 1966 Shelby, that drop me a line, put something in the comments. Any help along those lines is very welcome. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.